closer to our godliness. May our left hand give us strength to face each day. And before us may our visions light our paths ahead, and behind us may well-being heal our way. All around us is Shekhinah. 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 May our right hand bring us closer to our godliness. May our left hand give us strength to face each day. And before us may our visions light our paths ahead, and behind us may well-being guide our way. All around us is Shekhinah. 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 All around us is Shekhinah.
Good morning. And happy International Women's Day. Oh, I know it was yesterday, but we can still catch up, right? Welcome to worship here at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. I'm David Carl Olson, and I serve here with Reverend Israel Buffardi and our student minister, Madison Colquette, all of us in the care of our lead minister, Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore. We're in a celebratory place today. Cha-cha-cha, okay. But even as we occupy this liminal space just now, winter passing, spring just arriving, the days lengthening and warming, may our hearts too be warming as we lean into each other. With trust, we gather. In trust, we gather. We notice who is in the room, and we pay special attention to who we notice is not. Who is it that needs to be called, and is it my turn to make that call? All right? Who needs me to drop some cookies off at, right? To whom must I extend an invitation to coffee, or occasionally a beer? Who just needs a call? My call. Who wants to hear the sound of my voice? Our congregation values the shared leadership of clergy and laity. Today's service includes the voices of different generations of the women of our congregation. And as we are a self-governing people, I'd like to invite our congregational vice president, here we are, Amy Villa Ripley, to join me at the pulpit.
going to say, for those who were here, was it last week where I started to read your script over again by accident? So I'll try not to do that.
Now here we go.
Okay.
The magic.
I'm not sure if mine is in here. I can just,
I think we just didn't turn to your
there
page.
we go.
Oh, that was mine.
That's all right. See, that's
Yes.
how. Good morning. Whether you're a visitor, a newcomer, or a longtime member in this congregation, you are welcome here. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. In this community of justice seekers, meaning makers, community builders, spiritual explorers, we value diversity and embrace the wisdom found in all faith traditions around the world. We use science, reason, and an open heart to explore life's many mysteries. To learn more about this congregation and Unitarian Universalism, please visit our welcome desk in the lobby or go to our website, UUCSR.org. A special request for today, we are recognizing and thanking our professional staff this weekend. If you see a member of our staff, please thank them for all that they do.
We tried to give them cupcakes. So if you see people with a little frosting around
There you go. That's a good way to and please do. The Board of Trustees invites you into the fuller life of this congregation. I'm going to pause here, go off strip. You guys should know by now, I'm not giving you a microphone because I'm going to say something. It's not just the fuller life of the congregation and leadership. The one thing I was thinking about driving in today was just about making friends. This world's a little crazy right now, and I have to say the things, when I look back at even the last couple of weeks, the things that have gotten me out of it the most are meeting with my women friends that I have made here. Ami was one. Where's Ami? Ami. Just thinking about that. So just thinking about International Women's Day and how important that is, and not to leave out the men in the congregations. You know, these are some of the best men I know, truly. And just thinking about recognizing the women in your life and all the work that they do that is seen and unseen, and thinking about, I saw this the other week, about how doing that is like the best, in a way to embrace your humanity. So I loved that. Anyway, so I invite you to make friends, to thank the women in the room, to thank the women in your lives. So I just wanted to say that. Also, please join us for lunch. I'm usually there. I won't be there today because I'm going to the field trip with my son. The 6th and the 7th grade is going on a field trip today. They're making hamantashen in Port Jefferson at the Port Jewish Center. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to that because that's something different to do. Anyway, but please come to lunch. If you are, again, a first or second time visitor or forgot cash, lunch is on us.
This afternoon, a listening session will be held, don't go too far, will be held with our bylaws committee, requiring potential revision of the language in our bylaws about the board of directors. Please join us in the art gallery at 12:45. Then at 1 o'clock in the chapel, the Racial Justice Subcommittee will hear from Bob Gale about his family's story, the first black family to integrate Great Neck. I have a special invitation from our Respectful Relations team, and thank you. Jill Marcus, can you please come forward?
Where is it?
Oh. Tell you what.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Respectful Relationship team invites you to join us for an all-day workshop on learning skills for empathy, Saturday, March 22nd. Come for coffee at 9:30. Our session with special guest Aisha Hauser begins at 10 a.m. We'll share a simple lunch before the afternoon session begins at 1 o'clock and will be done by 3 p.m. All are welcome.
Thank you. And this Friday, please join our Soulful Sundown led by Madison Colquette. Our featured musician will be Reverend Amy Carol Webb. Reverend Webb is a UU minister, a singer-songwriter in the women's music tradition, and a board-certified chaplain. And she's going to lead a workshop next Saturday in the afternoon at 1 in the Art Gallery on music and healing. Please join us.
At Shelter Rock, we aspire to be a loving religious community where we can grow spiritually and to build a more just and joyful world. You are welcome to join us on this journey. Thank you.
Don't go just yet. Each Sunday, we light the chalice of our religious heritage. I invite the chair of our worship committee, Sandra, to join me at the pulpit, and Amy is going to light the chalice.
Awaken each day, alive to its endless possibilities. Lead a full life, daring to take risks and explore new areas of interest. Find it easy to smile and to laugh. Look for and find the positive side of every situation. Keep your mind and your heart open so as not to miss the beauty of rainbows.
Thank you. Let's rise in body and spirit to sing our opening hymn, the song inspired by the union organizing of New England women mill workers, many of them immigrants, known by its call for bread and roses, bread and roses. Number 109 in the gray hymnal, but please pay attention to the screens for a couple of alterations to the text.
Please remain standing as we say our words of affirmation and sing our song of affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, this do we affirm and covenant with each other.
Peace
Please be seated.
Our first reflection of 5, I think, will be by Ami Balodkar, Chair of our Religious Education Committee.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's great to be here with all of you today. I want to start by thanking Reverend Olson and Sandra Frank of the women's group for inviting me to be a part of this special service today. For those of you who I don't know personally, as Reverend Olson said, my name is Ami Balodkar, and I'm the chair of the RE committee, as well as an RE teacher and parent of a 12-year-old son, Salil. My husband, Moin, and I have been members of this congregation for the past 7 years. I wanted to begin my talk today with a quick, heartfelt apology to all of you, but especially to the other wonderful women who will be speaking today and sharing their stories with us. As Amy mentioned, as many of you know, being a parent often requires you to be at a different place at the same time, multiple places sometimes. So similar to Amy, my son Salil is on this field trip to the Jewish temple, and he said, "Mom, you have to come make Hamantaschen with me." So I want to apologize that after my talk, I will be heading over to the Jewish temple as well. Thank you for your understanding on that. When I think about what women's liberation means to me, particularly at this age and stage of life, I'm filled with a multitude of thoughts and emotions. The mere fact that I am standing here on this stage, speaking with all of you today, is in many ways a testament to just how far women's liberation has come in the past couple of generations. Allow me for a moment, indulge me please, to take you on a quick journey back in time over 50 years ago and across the world to India. Imagine a woman who was so inspired by her physician father that she decided also to go to medical school at a time when most women didn't even graduate high school. Now imagine that same woman falling in love with her medical school lab partner, who was also a Hindu like her, but from a different region of India. Imagine her trying to convince her parents to let her marry him, even though nearly all marriages during that time were arranged by one's parents and family according to strict criteria. It's hard not to be amazed and inspired by the courage and conviction it must have taken her to both advocate for her career and her marriage partner. I am so blessed and proud to share that this bold and trailblazing woman is none other than my very own mother, Dr. Neelam Balodkar. Looking back now, I realize that the seeds of women's liberation were literally embedded deep into my DNA by her, and for that I am very grateful. Similar to my mom's story, my own personal and professional journey has centered around challenging traditional gender and cultural norms rather than subscribing to the ones society has always tried to impose on me. However, unlike my mom, I have grown up with a bicultural identity and sensibility, Indian and American. And the values and expectations that these two cultures place on women differ at times and even come into direct conflict with one another. Being a part of the first generation of women born to South Asian immigrant parents, as well as my being the eldest child and only daughter, I have been navigating bicultural waters since my childhood, never quite feeling at home in either culture. Beginning in my adolescence, through much trial and error, conflict, and soul-searching, I have learned how to carve out a space for myself in the world that authentically feels like my own, one that really integrates what I hold most dear about my Indian and American identities and values, especially as a woman. It is because of this bicultural integration that I was able to choose a profession such as marriage and family therapy and a partner, a Pakistani American Muslim, that my parents initially disapproved of, because both of these choices defied Indian cultural and gender norms and expectations. Thankfully, my parents eventually came around to being incredibly supportive of both my career as well as my marriage. Over the past 15 years since becoming a wife and mother, I have come to learn firsthand that no matter how liberated a woman I may consider myself to be, my life and choices will always be impacted to varying degrees by gender and cultural norms, both Indian and American. It is this complicated truth that allows me to now, as an adult, make sense of the anger and frustration I used to feel when I would watch my mom do the lion's share of the work involved in cooking, cleaning, and raising 3 kids, while also doing the hard work of being a full-time physician. She took all of this on her shoulders in large part because it was what was expected of an Indian woman of her generation, regardless of whether she was a professional or not. Thankfully, I do not have and feel a similar kind of domestic pressure, but I do feel the weight of Indian gender and cultural expectations for being responsible and taking care of both mine and my husband's aging parents. In addition, I share heartfelt sentiments and frustrations of many of my American friends and colleagues who are calling out that the, quote, mental load of raising a family still falls disproportionately on women's shoulders, regardless of whether they work outside the home or not, and regardless of how egalitarian their marriages and households may be. There is so much more I can say about women's liberation, especially during these politically challenging times. But for now, I want to thank all of you for listening to my thoughts and bearing witness to my experience. I want to close with a poem by Lucille Clifton entitled, "Won't You Celebrate With Me?" that really speaks to my experience as a bicultural woman. Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model, born in Babylon, both non-white and woman. What did I see to be except myself? I made it up. Here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight my other hand. Come, celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and yet has failed. Thank you.
Good morning and happy International Women's Day. Each Sunday, we share an opportunity towards living our Unitarian Universalist values and the world by acts of generosity. This month, our offering provides support to the Domestic Harmony Foundation, DHF. Domestic Harmony Foundation is a community-based, non-profit organization created in response to the social, emotional, and psychological needs of a growing South Asian, Middle Eastern, and Muslim community in Long Island. DHF provides culturally sensitive services and has programs like support groups, counseling service, evaluations, referrals for legal and financial services, education and awareness programs to individuals irrespective of creed, culture, ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation. Please give by the means listed in the order of service or on the screen. If presenting a check or cash, please place it in the collection box in the main lobby. Please be generous. Thank you.
I love that the notion of the response to domestic violence is domestic harmony. That touches me deeply. We're going to sing our responsive song. And just so you know, this comes from Sufi-inspired Dances for Universal Peace. So it has a little lift to it as it goes along. And you would imagine doing this in a big room with a bunch of people, and you do it one-to-one with somebody. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. And then you'd find somebody else to do it again, and somebody else to do it again. So this is really about all of us bowing and loving and acknowledging one another. We're doing a modified version that doesn't have us doing hands with each other, but kind of doing it alone. But can you rise with me? And some of you will remember that the gestures are looking at the other and with a big surprise on your face, from you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this, oh, we just so adore each other, we live. And just imagine you've got a little bounce, 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 and you're going to do it with one person, then another, and then another. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Please be seated. I'd like to invite to the pulpit Sandra Frank. And I think I even got the thing working right. Sandra.
See, adjusted down. Thank you. When this country was first being formed, one of our Unitarian women, Abigail Adams, wrote to her husband, who was helping write the Constitution, "Remember the women, John." Apparently, he forgot, and it's been an uphill struggle ever since. The first Equal Rights Amendment was proposed in 1923 by Alice Paul. Over 50 years later, in the 70s, the amendment was then brought for ratification through the U.S. Congress. And now, 50 years past that, it still has not been passed. And all it is asking for gender equity. As a Unitarian Universalist woman, we live our values by being in the forefront of reform. Since we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, today we're going to take time to celebrate and to remember our foremothers, some of UUCSR's remarkable women. During this annual History Month Women's Group Breakfast and service. To start, we remember the founders of the North Shore Unitarian Church Association. Fortunately for us, we have the minutes of their first meeting from January 1963, where they state their goals in detail. One of their rationales for having a women's association was to create and maintain a working organization within the then UUCSR that will assist in the diverse operation and varied need, including offering diverse programs to satisfy the needs and desires of all the church members. This was at a time when fewer women were in the workforce and had more time for volunteer work. I'm not going to mention any of the names there because I really don't think we would recognize them at this time. Moving on, we want to celebrate the first woman Board of Trustee President, Sherry Smith, apparently an achievement at the time. And through change, we've had many since, and I'll just name some: Jean Judd, Lauren First, Barbara Goldbach, Nancy Baldwin, and now we have Chris Hilke. They have served since, and thanks to all of them for all they do. And now from Women's Group, some of the women And now, some recollections from women's group. Some of these women who were our role models and friends. We remember Pat Luciano, who wrote about women's rights in the Order of Service and the Quest. She didn't want the women's group to exist without women's issues as a position on our board. And today we have Maria Sorello, who with passion is continuing in her footsteps. We remember Sidel Lopez, who advocated for a large grant for an organization, Children of the Night. Their goal and what they did was rescue teenage prostitutes, offering them housing and education to help them turn their life around. Vicki Spielman, who produced and organized a full production of the play, The Vagina Monocles by Eve Ensler, right here at Shelter Rock. Clara Steiner, who wrote special art that we use as the cover on our yearly booklet and note cards. Some of our Shelter Rock youth were able to volunteer, intern at the UNO office because of Dottie Prunehuber, who tirelessly worked with the Unitarian Universalist United Nations office and brought back news of the plight of women around the world. In 1987, our member Ann Jarwin founded and then led the Center of the Women of New York for the remaining days of her life at 97 years. She established a resource center for conferences, research, education at Fort Totten in Queens. There are many others, but of course, it's just too many to remember, but we've done a lot of very good work here. We are blessed to have them in our lives and remember all with gratitude. As we face the future with trepidation and outright fear, we know they are with us in spirit. Though we've come a long way since 1963, women are currently dealing with the loss of many of their hard-earned rights. LGBTQ rights, voting rights, reproductive rights, and more. It is with pride that Women's Group is still an integral and active organization within UUCSR after 62 years of evolution, championing women's equity. Our goal is to continue the work of our foremothers and to help create a future defined by hope, security, and opportunity for all women and girls. Thank you to the Women's Group Board, current board, for all they do. To all the members of Women's Group and to the entire congregation for their support.
You're fine, it's fine.
So we need you for this part. So can I have these two areas of the congregation? You'll say the words in purple with me, and these two rows will say, and also the choir, will say the words in blue with Reverend Olson.
We must sit down and reason together.
Perhaps we should sit in the dark. In the dark, we could utter our feelings.
In the dark, we could propose and describe and suggest.
In the dark, we could not see who speaks, and only the words would say what they say.
No one would speak more than twice. No one would speak less than once.
Thus, saying what we feel and what we want, what we fear for ourselves and each other into the dark.
Perhaps we could begin to listen.
The women must learn to dare to speak. The men must learn to bother, to listen.
The women must learn to say, I think this is so.
The men must learn to stop dancing solos on the ceiling.
After each speaks, she or he will say a ritual phrase.
It is not I who speaks, but the wind. Wind blows through me. Long after me, it is the wind. I'd like to invite Debbie Siegel to the pulpit to provide a reflection.
Thanks a lot. I need that. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our ladies' worship service. The power of positive thinking, which is much needed today. Is the world getting you down, friends? Turn that frown upside down. Let's become optimists. Sounds strange? Sounds impossible? Just start singing, I'm gonna wash that negativity right out of my hair. That's right, why not? Change your attitude to one of gratitude. Change your attitude to change your latitude to a sunny position and a sunny disposition. If you think it's crappy, you won't be happy. Every day, wake up and practice saying to yourself positive affirmations. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. Think what you want to become, and you will. Think it, feel it, fake it till you make it. What you expect is what you will receive. So always expect goodness. You will receive goodness. Change your thoughts and you can change your attitude. Bring happiness to all you do and to all those you know. Move yourself into trying. As that great evangelist Robert Schuller used to say, tough times never last, but tough people do. Do not compare yourself to others. Companions can be very negative. To quote world-famous psychologist Dr. Albert Ellis, who gives a shit? Every morning I read these positive affirmations. I read these positive affirmations to make them a part of me. This is my mantra. I am healthy. I am well. I am self-confident. I am powerful. I can do it. Thank you, Sammy Davis Jr., who wrote the book, Yes, I Can. Sammy overcame much adversity. Say, I am an absolutely positive person. Absolutely, positively positive. Sir Anthony Hopkins is a strong, self-confident person. He said, my philosophy is, what people say about me is none of my business. I am who I am and do what I do. I expect nothing and accept everything. And this makes life easier. We live in a world where funerals are more important than the deceased. Marriage is more important than love. Looks are more important than a soul. We live in a packaging culture that despises content. So let's embrace life as it is. Life is too short to deal with other people's insecurities. It is important to not get caught up in other people's issues. Do not allow others to draw your energy with negativity. So repeat over and over, I am absolutely, positively positive. So let's become optimists. Practice your own daily affirmations. Become a sunny person by making a climate change. Develop a sunny attitude in a sunny latitude with lots of gratitude. Anthony Hopkins also said that none of us gets out of here alive. So please stop treating yourself like an afterthought. Eat the delicious food, walk in the sunshine, jump in the ocean, Say the truth that you are carrying in your heart like hidden treasure. Be silly. Be kind. Be weird. There's no time for anything else. Thank you.
You won't live to see the future that you fight for. Maybe no one gets to reach that perfect day. If the work is never over, then how do you keep marching anyway? Do you carry your banner as far as you can, rewriting the world with your imperfect pen, till the next stubborn girl picks it up in a picket line over and over again, and you join in the chorus of centuries chanting to her? The path will be risky and twisted and slow, but keep marching, keep marching. Will you fail or prevail? Well, you may never know, but keep marching, 'cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. Keep marching on. Keep marching on. Keep marching on. Keep marching on.
And remember every mountain as you came from. Learn as much from our success as our mistakes. Don't forget you're merely one of many others on the journey every generation makes. You did not end in justice, and neither will you, unless you remain stride, so we know you can too. Make peace with our incomplete power and use it for good, 'cause there's so much to do. The gains will feel small and the losses too large. Keep marching. Keep marching. You'll rarely agree with whoever's in charge. Keep marching. Keep marching, 'cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching on. Marching on, keep marching on. Yes, the world can be changed. We've done it before, so keep marching, keep marching. We're always behind you, so bang down the door and keep marching, and let history sound the alarm of how the future demands that we fight for it now. It will only be ours if we keep marching on. Come on, keep marching, marching, marching. Come on, keep marching, marching, marching. Come on, keep marching, marching, marching. Come on, keep marching, marching, marching.
keep marching. Amen. Thank you. Y'all, I'm from the South. I say amen. In the book of Matthew, in the Christian scriptures, Jesus begins his Sermon on the Mount with 9 blessings, the Beatitudes. Biblical scholars have interpreted the Beatitudes as a call of action by Rabbi Jesus to realize a better human community in which the poor, the hungry, the weeping, and the marginalized are instead recipients of transformative justice. For our celebration of International Women's Day and Women's History Month, I wrote this riff on the Beatitudes. And I invite you to meditate or pray, whatever is in your practice, on these blessings. Blessed are the dreamers, including those in this room who dream of an America that is yet to be. Like Representative Shirley Chisholm, who said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Blessed are the artists who challenge and delight us and find ever more creative ways to speak truth. Blessed are our own New York change makers, Sojourner Truth, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Black businesswoman Madam C.J. Walker, Representative Bella Abzug, and poet Audre Lorde. Blessed are the under and unrecognized women. Though they may not be remembered in history books, their lives and work matters. Blessed are the trans women whose lives are politicized, policed, and erased. To Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who were instrumental to the resistance at the Stonewall Inn in 1969, you are a blessing. May we continue to be inspired by your spirits and your fight for equity. Blessed are the Matinecock who, despite massacre and forced displacement, did not vanish. To Anne Harding Murdoch, Princess Son Tomo, who in 1958 formally reactivated the Matinecock Indian tribe on Long Island. Blessed are the mothers, parents, sisters, daughters, and children who fear being separated from their families, from their communities, from their homes, who may be returned to places they fled out of fear of violence. Blessed are they who call for mercy for the most vulnerable. Blessed are they who've cracked that glass ceiling, like Justice Sonia Sotomayor, a Boricua from the Bronx who had to work harder than her male colleagues because people assumed she was a secretary. Blessed are they who refuse to wait their turn. Blessed are your ancestors who started this community, those who sought meaning and connection and liberal religious education for themselves and their children during World War. Blessed are the RE teachers who commit to walk with youth and young adults on their journeys of self-discovery and encourage a spirit of curiosity and compassion in the wider world. Blessed are our youth and young adults. Blessed are the ministers who have embraced the call to walk with you on your work to build a more just and joyful world. Blessed are the social justice actors, both those who march to town halls and knock on doors, and those who write letters, call their representatives, and tithe for justice. Blessed are the Shelter Rock staff, who often behind the scenes support this congregation and its work. Blessed are the women, children, families, friends, and neighbors you have served through your philanthropy of the VEACH program. Blessed are the lay leaders, the choir singers, the instrument players, the committee members, the greeters, the food preparers, the question askers, and the care providers of this congregation. Blessed are you. Blessed are you. Amen. Please join us now up front to light a candle. We invite you to light a candle for a joy or sorrow, or for someone you wish to honor on this day of celebration and remembrance. I am privileged to invite Anne Kelly to come to the pulpit for a reflection.
Hello. My name is Anne Kelly. I am 15 years old, and I belong to Generation Z. My generation of women is the first to come of age having fewer freedoms than the previous, and one that is becoming more and more divided. I am growing up in a world where millions of women do not have control over the decisions about their own body, where freedom had to be a campaign policy in a presidential election and lost, where, according to a 2024 Ipsos poll, 60% of Gen Z males think women's equality discriminates against men. We've already seen the devastating ramifications of this ideology. I aspire to pursue a career in science, something that was not readily possible 100 years ago, and it is now almost a given that most American girls will move on to a college education. Yet, when the federal government of the country that supposedly sets the standard for enlightenment in the Western world forces NASA to take down some of the stories of women in their organization on their website, and to edit the biography of Vera Rubin, a pioneer in astronomy, to remove references to inclusivity, it can be difficult to believe that the world is on our side. My generation is the future of change, but if feminism is increasingly villainized and the power to fight for the true liberation of women is soon going to be in our hands, where can we find the love to unite in this initiative? This is a question that scares us. But if we are going to be handed a world tainted with a dangerous ideology that is now increasingly growing in the minds of young men, the only choice is to still do everything we can to find our shared humanity and show the world that modern feminism is what democracy looks like. I come from a divided generation, but also a motivated one. As we are becoming adults, we usher in an era of change and resistance, because pushing us down only makes us want to soar even more. We will protest and vote, and I don't know if we will ever be able to stop. But I think we've reached a place of freedom when the fight for women is a fight for and with us all. Youth activism is on the rise, though in a more polarized society. So I believe that this is what must change for Gen Z to deserve our significance. That we can let go of the biases of our parents, find the strength to unite, and finally trust women in society and the doctor's office. Because it is my hope and the quest for my generation to change the narrative as we mature, that there is no discrimination in the cause of human rights. Thank you.
I invite Renee Silver to the pulpit for a reflection.
Good morning. As the elder of this group, or as my friend Giovanna prefers to say, the mature youth, I go back a long time. A time when many things we take for granted now did not exist. There was no refrigeration. While there was electricity for lighting, it was not available for washing and drying machines, for cooking, for ironing. Even a typewriter required manual dexterity and muscle. Sewing machines were operated with pedals. No one ever even dreamed of dishwashers. Some homes had radios and even telephones. My grandmother cooked on wood-burning stoves. Wood and coal was used to heat rooms other than the kitchen. Our clothing was made by a seamstress, embroidered by a grandmother, knitted by a grandmother or an aunt. My mother's trousseau included hand-spun linen sheets. Early summer days were often spent canning. Vegetables, fruit, preserves, pickles were all homemade. One grandmother grew most of the vegetables and fruit in her own garden. Both grandmothers, and later my mother, made their own corned beef. They also made their own horseradish. The homes of both grandparents had outhouses and chamber pots were used at night. Diapers were little sheets in which the baby was wrapped. Of course, they were also added to the laundry. Granted, I was born in a city where electricity was more available and bathrooms were fully equipped, including bidets. Still, laundry was totally done manually, washed and scrubbed, and hung out on a line to dry. We did not have a refrigerator. Food was always fresh, bought either at a weekly market or delivered by local farmers. I was fortunate to have lived in a part of Europe famous for its excellent fruit and wine. I was very spoiled and still miss the flavor of fresh fruit picked recently: strawberries, currants, cassis, blueberries, raspberries, mirabelles, plums, cherries. So there was little time or inclination to seek work outside the home. It was generally totally accepted that women stayed home. Even with help, there was enough to keep them busy. We're not even talking about the caring for children. Women's work was never done. My mother's generation saw a few improvements. My generation has seen enough improvement to accept women working outside the home, going to college, becoming part of the working world. It quickly became evident that we were just as qualified as men, and in some cases more reliable. The one natural obstacle turned out to be our special gift, childbearing. Some men envied us for this ability to create, but most often it was used by men to emphasize that we belonged in the home. It gave them the sense of superiority that allowed them to impose laws on us. Many of these laws, even today, are brutal and indefensible, none more than the laws governing abortion rights. Even measures to prevent unwanted pregnancies are thwarted by the same element of society. Currently, new laws govern what can be taught in schools. Hygiene classes used to teach young adolescents to understand their bodies and to prevent disasters. There were explicit books, now banned. Waving Bibles to validate their brutal measures, current leaders justify their edicts. Unfortunately, in this country in particular, religion has been used over and over again to justify injustice, be it slavery, rights to education, or women's rights. Being an elder, a Holocaust survivor, I have seen what dictatorship can do. Let us work together to prevent sliding back in this country. We are entitled to women's rights and can only hope to achieve justice and equality if we all recognize the assault to which all of us are currently subjected. When one of our leaders substitutes the word girl for stupid in berating the Canadian leader Trudeau, when one of our elected officials calls an opponent cat lady, these are unacceptable affronts to women. Assaults to women's rights and dignity are assaults on humanity. Let us not allow anyone to diminish or take away our proudly achieved roles in 2025. Thank you.
I'm going to encourage you to stay standing. We have at the end of a service a time of benediction, good words. And I'm going to encourage you to receive them as a community, which means, if you're able and with consent, hold someone's hand, someone you're leaning into as a friend or as more than a friend, and we'll let our leaders speak.
No, that's all it's talking about.
Mm-hmm. And then all that has divided us will merge.
And then compassion will be wedded to power.
And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind.
And then both men and women will be gentle.
And then both women and men will be strong.
And then no person will be subject to another's will.
And then all will be rich and free and varied.
And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many.
And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance.
And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old.
And then all will nourish the young.
And then all will cherish life's creatures.
And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth.
And then everywhere will be called Eden once again.
Please, did you want to go? Please remain standing to sing our closing hymn, a song of the women's movement inspired by an African-American spiritual. This is number 212 in the gray hymnal, and lyrics are on the screen. We are dancing Sarah's Circle.
Seated. At the end of some of our meetings, by habit, we talk about a time for good of the order. And I want to say, for the good of the order, can we please say thank you to everyone who participated in making this service come together today. We are so grateful to all of the ways people pitched in. I did want to say, especially to the leadership of the women's group, we talked about how we could make this a service for the whole community. And I asked them a question which was less, what does someone want to speak, or who wants to speak, but who do you want to hear from? And it was in that people said, I really want to hear from the kids. I really want to hear from people in religious education. And so that's how we brought this together. And didn't it turn out all right? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And I want to hear from my buddy. We both decided to wear suits today.
We did.
How's that?
We did. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, but we can never extinguish the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.